Now, before we jump into this episode, go check the previous one out because spoilers are ahead and I'm going to talk about them right now. So check out the Hungarian Grand Prix in the top right. We're back for my team earlier than planned, and that's because once again the modding community came through and essentially a mod was released which backdates the car models back to their original ones, so I can continue to use my mod that I have made for this save, and I have to make no changes. So happy days all round. Now, after the last episode, you can see we got P8 in Hungary. It was an absolutely bonkers race. It had everything. We arrive here still as the best team, and we are starting to work on some durability now because, of course, that MGUH that we lost is starting to hurt us, and also we have some pretty big wear accumulated on the power unit and the gearbox. Now, you may have just seen before, we have a small chance of rain in the race right at the very end. Other than that, we have a dry weekend. So yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this episode. If you like, if you do, subscribe for more as I'm trying to push the channel forward. And yeah, here we are then at the end of practice. P6 for us, Nico Hulkenberg in P9 on the soft tyres. And this is the first episode using the new tyre allocation. Now, there wasn't a way to access it easily. And because of that, I completely forgot about it. It wasn't visual. It didn't kind of stand out, in the menus. So I believe I have the harder allocation for this one. I'm not too certain, but basically the problem here is going to be for qualifying. We have we have technically for the rest of the weekend, but we have a set of hard tyres and a set of mediums for qualifying and only 2 softs. So I don't know if this means we've gone for the softer allocation and we had only soft tyres in practice, or harder. I think it means harder, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going to stop saying that because it sounds really weird. But yeah, we only have 2 sets of soft tyres for the entirety of qualifying. We would get 1 more if we were to get into Q3. So we're looking at a set per session pretty much, the way things have gone. So here we are in Q1 using up our first set of soft tyres, and I'm on a 2-lap run here because we don't have another set of tyres. We go purple in sector 3 and we're going to have to get the job done on this set. First lap 11.0, currently P9 and looking okay for now. Making our way into the final part of the lap on this second lap after having a cool off, and you can see we're about a 10th up. We've lost a little bit of time in the last couple of corners, but out of the final one now through the banking, we're currently P10. Are we going to improve on our position with a 1.2 improvement? No, we don't. We stay P10, but we do improve our lap time and dip into the 110s. You can see half a second off the top. I'm also safe by about half a second, so we're not going to go back out. No threat. Car's working well. And you can see both cars in the top 10. I think that could be our pace. We'll see when the track ramps up. I remember in Imola in round 1, we were quite off the pace in Q1, eventually finished quite high up, so who knows. Either way, Q2 then, I actually put the mediums on. I wanted to go for a run and get some laps under my belt, and the set of softs using Q1 were like 15%. So I put the mediums on, and I can't believe we're doing this, but here we are. And I'm going to actually set a banker, and we're going to see what it's going to be as we race up to the line. It's looking like a 111.5. That is not ideal. Pretty peak. Anyway, I then went for a cool-off lap, and I'm now going to start a second push. As usual in mediums, I can actually get a pretty competitive lap out of the second push lap if I want to. So, down to turn 1, braking at the 50. We run a little bit wide of the apex, but we pull it back quite nicely. However, we lose the back end and lose the entire front wing as we shunt into the wall. So that's going to be that in terms of that run on the mediums and that experiment.
2 minutes remaining in the session. We need a good lap here or we're out of qualifying. Come on.
So yeah, as you heard Mark say, soft tyres on, and we're now going to crack on here with our final run. So DRS open here with the softs, and we've got cars leaving the pit exit as well, so we may encounter traffic. Hopefully that all goes well. Turn 1, very deep, very wide, completely miss the apex, but we square off the corner. We clear the Mercedes on the pit exit as we now head into the right-hander, then into the banker, trying to stay relatively tight, again squaring off the corner to get a good exit and get good drive along this kind of back straight which ends sector 1. Now into the downhill right of Schreivlach, down 2 gears, going for a let apex and get the power down. We run a little bit wide and just bottom out on the curb. And unfortunately, we brush the wall and get front wing damage yet again, which is going to put an end to our qualifying. So P16 for us. Wow, disaster. Having said that, pace evolution from the AI wasn't that much. We did a 1 minute 10.9 in Q1, and that would have got us P11 easily. And there was more time to find. I wasn't really in the zone. It's been a few days since I played the game, and I could feel it. I wasn't quite there. Hulkenberg went, I think, the same pace as Q1. So I think we could have easily got into Q3, to be honest with you, with some track evolution and a bit of a cleaner lap. However, we're out P16 and we have work to do. Verstappen and Leclerc into Q3, our two title rivals. Hulkenberg, of course, won the last race. He's back in the mix. So it's all to play for, and we have to try and recover this in the race. So let's get into it and let's see what we can do in the main event.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here, this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to overtake. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Sainz, George Russell and Hulkenberg, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo, Gasly, Zhou, Yuki Tsunoda and Bottas, Martinez, Magnussen, Lance Stroll and Alex Albon, Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Latifi and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now for the race, we have it all to do as we start from P15, a long way back around the circuit in which you can't really overtake that much. So strategy is going to be really, really important in this race. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and flip it. We're going to start on the hard tyre, move on to the medium and go for the reverse one stop. The default strategy here is a soft to hard tyre, which is pretty marginal. I feel like the soft tyre, while tempting, is going to overheat quite badly. So I'm going to go for the medium on the second stint. And the beauty of using the hard allocation is that I have another set of hard tyres available to me if I need them. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty decent advantage. We've got a fresh set of mediums as well. So that's going to help us out. Fuel-wise, I'm going for 0.8. I'm going a bit lower than usual. We haven't had any fuel issues this season, so I'm willing to take that risk. And yeah, we're also a little bit higher on tyre pressures. And I've also gone for a click more on the front wing to have a bit more turning. It might unsettle the car, but I feel like I'm going to need the front end on the hard tyres to make the car rotate. So let's get into the formation lap. Leave a prediction down below. Let's see if we could turn this around. I think if we pull this off, this would be a pretty insane turnaround. Not gonna lie, it's been a pretty big challenge to get the hard tyre to heat up, but we've got just about enough temp to make this work. We'll go for a bit more scrubbing on the pit straight, but we're just about hanging on to the, I'd say, over 80s in terms of temp. Just gonna try and scrub the fronts a little bit if I can. That's all we can really hope for at this stage. A little bit of wheel spin, also some locking up. This is adding some tyre wear, but I feel like I want the temp. I feel like it's going to be worth it. Anyway, let's line up aggressive, as I feel like I might have to cut across here to defend the inside. Oh my god, I've never done that before. That was a perfect start. That was a 0.0. Whew, that's the first time ever for me. Anyway, let's get to work, baby. Not a bad start, but not a good one. But then again, a lot of cars are on softs. Gonna send it around the outside of turn 1 and hope it works. Oh yes, excellent. Now we're gonna get a chance to send it around the outside of the banking. Let's see if we can make that work as well. Squeeze the throttle on. That's P11 already. That is a brilliant start. A lot of cars on soft tyres towards the back, which is where we started. So we've managed to actually pull away from those, and you know, if I'm surrounded by medium runners, that's better for us as they're not going to be as fast. Those on the soft tires are going to be super quick in this initial stage of the race. For now though, the important thing is to try and stay in the race and stay in the DRS, especially by lap 3, as that is going to be the real key for us, I think. If we can hold on to DRS, that could make our race. And then as the laps tick over, we should start to make some progress as we have Perez side by side with Russell. Going a bit slow. I'm going to try and have a look around the outside of Ricciardo here. Getting aggressive on this first lap. Of course, we had an insane lap 1 in Paul Ricard, and we've had another one here today at Zandvoort. As we moved into the top 10 from P15 on the hard tyre. Russell on the hards as well. So 3 wide, Alonso, Russell, Perez. This could get very scrappy. And we actually get the run on George here. I might have a chance to clear the Merc, which would be brilliant for our race, as George is on the same tyre strategy as us maybe. Down the inside of the banker. And do we clear Russell? Yes, we do. We just force him onto the curb. And we clear one of the hard tyre runs, which was really important for us. So P9, one of the starts of the season. You could definitely have a toss-up between this and Paul Ricard. Paul Ricard, I think, was P12 to P4. But what a opening part of this race. Important now that we try and keep up with Alonso and Perez here. Once DRS gets enabled on the next lap, which I think we're able to achieve. Race pace should be stronger. Right, we've got DRS. I think Hamilton is on the hard tyre. He's just in front of Perez. So again, another car that likely would be better for our race if we were to pass him. So we'll try and see if we can close in. For now though, we've got DRS and we're chilling in this little train, which is good. We've got a top 3 featuring both Ferraris and a Red Bull, then Hulkenberg chilling in P4 solo, and then you've got the rest of the pack pretty much. So let's see how this goes. Yellow flag. Not sure who for. Not sure if it's a crash or a retirement, but someone's off. It's Charles Leclerc. That's big for the championship. Absolutely massive. The championship leader out the race. That all of a sudden opens things up. Verstappen into the lead of his home Grand Prix. Got to try and stay within DRS here and not lose DRS on Alonso. Very important. But that is a crucial moment. Even more important now that we try and have a decent race and make the strategy work, because we're looking at outscoring Leclerc, which is huge. Verstappen is behind us in the championship, I believe. So I don't mind if Max claws back a few points here today, but crucially Leclerc's deficit, or the deficit we have to Leclerc more like, is going to be cut this race, which is big. Meanwhile, Hamilton, Perez battling ahead. So Hamilton is on the hard tyre like I suspected. Important that we try and get him eventually in this race. They're still going at it. Still going side by side. It's going to cost them a load of time. That's going to allow the McLaren, I believe, of Norris to pull away in front. But Checo gets the move done and moves into P5. Alonso, Hamilton. The real life battle now into this My Team universe. And Alonso goes through. I'm looking at Lewis there, but I didn't quite get the traction that I wanted. But we know about our straight line speed. We may get a chance here. Hamilton having a snap on the exit. And he could be about to lose 3 places in 1 lap as we get the run on the Mercedes. And we're going to get a run on Alonso as well. 3 wide into turn 1. We're going to keep it tight to avoid having contact. Got to leave space, and we get floor damage. Oh, we're going to back it out of that. That's not about what I want, but...
Okay, the underbody's taken some damage. You might start to notice it soon.
Some pretty bad floor damage. That's really sensitive, man. I can't believe that's happened. What is the damage? It's orange, yellow-orange. It's pretty aggressive. We'll see how the car feels and whether our straight line speed is affected. For now, though, we're still hanging in there. We've done it before where we've, got away with floor damage, like in the last race in Hungary. But let's see. That's a real shame because we was going to get the double move done there. Lewis just done open the gap up a little bit, so I'm trying to put the pressure on. I'm now using battery as we have charge, so I can start to push, and we're going to try and commit to a move here and see if we can get Fernando Alonso. Hopefully a clean move. He loses the back end again. Tyre wear seems high. There we go. Through the banker onto the pit straight. Personal best as we take the inside line. On the brakes. Don't outbrake ourselves. There we go. Lovely. P6 or P7, sorry. Up next. So Lewis Hamilton. Let's get after it. Another personal best, 13.3, as we now tuck in behind Lewis. We'll try and get him on the next lap. Nico Hülkenberg up to P2. The man, of course, won the last race in Hungary, looking for a back-to-back, but he's now got to chase down Max Verstappen in his home Grand Prix. Ricardo, Alonso, Russell battling behind, so that's going to take the pressure off and also cost Russell valuable time on this tyre strategy. Just taking one more lap here to recharge the batteries, because once I get past Lewis, I'm going to try and use all my battery to try and catch up to Perez and Lando. Right, this could be the lap. This is the closest we've been to Hamilton. That Merc drives off and accelerates really well. Gap is still pretty large, but we'll try and see if we can get the run using all the battery we have. Down to turn 1. We know we've got the overspeed. Nope. Hamilton doesn't even jink to go defensive. He didn't fall for the dummy. There we go. That's better. We're close to this lap. Hamilton will have to go defensive. Closing in. Hamilton defends. Super deep into the first corner, trying to use the banking. And there we go. We're through up into P6. We've also closed in on Perez and Norris in that time. There's a P4 on the card today in this race, I think. That's the best we can hope for. Let's chase after Red Bull and the McLaren. Let's use up our battery to try and drop Lewis if we can. Personal best, gap to Hamilton 7/10. I should be able to drop him now if we have a decent first half of the lap. There we go, we've done it. 1.2 seconds. We've got the gap we need. And the gap ahead now closing to 3 seconds.
Nico's coming in for his stop now.
So Hülkenberg into the pit lane, going for an earlier stop than everybody else. We set a personal best yet again. Hard tyre working well. Carlos Sainz in the pit lane, so is Max Verstappen. Now this would be a great time for a virtual safety car, or even a full safety car, because we benefit massively from this. But I'll take what I'm given, even if we don't get anything. We've had a great race so far. I can't really complain. Verstappen actually rejoins behind Russell, so that's good. And there we go, Perez, Norris pit, into P1. I think Hamilton and Russell will go for softs, but I'd rather go for medium. I think it's going to be a more competitive tyre. I think we could actually run a set of softs, but I'd rather just jump off this tyre and get into the medium. I think the amount of time we'll gain compared to Hamilton and Russell on a fresh medium, and then waiting for a set of softs, will easily pull away. Oh wow, Hamilton pits. That's an early stop. That's an undercut from Lewis. That's caught me out actually by surprise. Fair enough. That's an earlier stop than I planned. I think we'll still commit to the medium. Currently responding to Hamilton, and we're on for a personal best. We might lose it on the run to the line, but still we're going to start for one more.
Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
Let's squeeze everything we can out of these tyres, as we could be racing Norris here. Hamilton has rejoined behind Norris. Norris has lost out to Perez, and I feel like my pace could be better than Checo's. Russell into the pit lane now. This will be our in lap. We're going to use everything we've got. What a lap this is. Purple in sector 1, and we're still up in sector 2. I'm on the absolute reserve of battery deployment, but we're flying. Let's pit 2 very strong in laps here. We're a bit conservative on the pit entry, but you know what, better safe than sorry. That was an excellent couple of laps though. Verstappen 12.8. Oh, this is important. Let's see how this goes. We need a great stop here from the boys. Lovely 2.4, back underway, here we go. It's going to be close with Norris.
Stay clear of the white line on the exit, or receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Norris stays in front though, but we're still going to be ahead of Hamilton. Look at that. 2 brilliant laps, albeit now we're going to be on cold tyres. But we've closed the gap massively now to Perez and Lando. Those final laps on the hard tyre. Hamilton coming through, we're going to use the battery here to squeeze him into the white line, onto the grass and keep him at bay. Very important that we keep track position here. Don't have a ton of battery to work with. Car still feels okay even with the floor damage. I have lost a little bit of performance with the corners, especially through these 2 here, this right-hander and the next left. I can feel the car doesn't quite want to turn. I've got a bit of understeer, but it's okay for the rest of the lap. But there we go, we've done okay. Tyres up to temp now, so let's get after Lando, and then let's get down to Perez, and we're looking at a P4 finish today. Little snap there. Just trying to recharge the battery so I'm not using any ERS. We're going to set a new personal best. 12.8. That's without any battery at all. Pace is great. Let's get Lando now this lap, and then let's try and race onto Perez. We'll use Lando to break Hamilton away from us. Let's do this. Lando, hopefully you won't put up too much of a fight. Got a little bit of battery, so we can afford to dip into it a little bit. Not sure what McLaren's saying in terms of straight line speed, but we're close enough as it is. Here we go, getting the run down to turn 1. Personal best. Lando doesn't really defend, it's a bit of a shy defense into turn 1, so we go straight through, and that's P5. Track limit warning. I've been taking the chicane like that every single lap, right on the limit in terms of what's possible and what's, you know, illegal, so that's just the risk I'm taking. But the car actually works quite well. I'm kind of bottoming out over the curb, but I'm still finding grip. Lando about to get dropped from DRS range as we use up our battery on purpose. New fastest lap, and we're now going to race onto Checo as Russell sets the new fastest lap of the race. And we're going to get DRS on Checo, but we're going to spend a couple of laps just recharging the battery. Or not, never mind, I didn't get DRS on Checo there. He just pulled away enough out the final corner. But yeah, we're going to just recharge. So I've got nothing left. I want to see if I can get a full charge back and then get past Perez and race after Carlos. I think we can actually get him. There's plenty of laps left to fire back. I will say fuel is a little bit marginal. I'm going through the fuel faster than I'd like. I may have to set up a P4 for that reason, so I might try and go for a bit of fuel saving behind Checo as well, whilst charging up the battery. Fuel saving literally impossible. We're not saving anything at all, so I'm just going to spend a lap trying to get by, break DRS, and then go straight back to fuel saving mode. Almost at a full charge, probably looking at a next lap overtake. Right, let's see if we can get this done then. The Red Bull pretty speedy on the straight. We're pretty slow through this corner right here, maybe the floor damage not helping us out. But we're close enough that we can get a run, and we've got plenty of battery. Fuel's looking okay. You see the Red Bull's slippery on the straight. Russell, new fastest lap as we go all the way around the outside. Right, we're going to use all the battery we've got. We need one big push lap here to try and drop Checo out of DRS range and feed him into Hamilton. So we're going to give everything we've got and see what kind of pace we have. This also will be our fastest lap attempt. Verstappen 12.3. Haven't been able to drop Checo, but I reckon I can do it on the next lap.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
11.9. That will be the fastest lap. Pretty confident with that. Let's keep pushing. Second warning. I'm on the tightrope now, but I'm trying to push Checo back into DRS range. But as long as it doesn't get past here, we're going to be okay. And I think we're going to be okay. We've got just enough. Now it's about making the fuel last. One more lap, using up the rest of the battery. And that's going to do it. We just hold on. Our straight line speed has been so strong this entire weekend. Verstappen with the W in his home race, a race in which Leclerc retires and blows the championship wide open. We recover from P15 to a phenomenal P4 and hopefully a fastest lap, which I'll take.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here in Zandvoort, but they've done so in spectacular style. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
Now this is going to massively impact the championship. Verstappen wins at home. Hulkenberg, after winning the last race, finishes P2 here today, and we recovered to P4 with the fastest lap. Phenomenal performance, even with floor damage. I think without the damage I could have got P2. Honestly, I think that was fair and possible. But yeah, we'll take that. Great race. Car was phenomenal in the race trim. That +1 on the front wing race adjustment was the deciding factor. If I'd done that in qualifying, we could have gone to Q3, I think, as well. So that was a key difference, which really helped us out in this weekend. So anyway, that aside, let's talk about standings. As you can see, it's game on. And I mean in a big way. There's 6 drivers going for this title right now. I think Checo's a bit too far, but Verstappen, Leclerc, myself, and now, because of that DNF, Hulkenberg, Sainz and Russell, you could argue are back in the mix. And if you look at the pace of Hamilton and Checo this race as well, you know, one good race is all it takes. But my God, man, it's on fire right now. But 5 points covering the top 3 at the halfway stage, pretty much. You've got to love it. In the constructors, we're only 3 points behind Ferrari. Red Bull are 3rd, and Mercedes also still on a million miles away. So this fight is going to continue. Alpine are getting stronger and stronger, and I can't wait. This could be an actually legendary season heading into the second half of the season on this custom calendar. But guys, I'm actually going to wrap up there and leave it there. We'll take care of the admin work at the start of the next episode. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more daily F1 content on my channel. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen in a moment. Before that though, a big shout out to the members for supporting the channel and the content as always. But yeah guys, cheers for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Until then, take care, and let's go back from me.